Why focus on women?
Good question. We're trying to build one-stop shop for female founders who are starting off their entrepreneurial journey. I remember just bawling. I was just crying like, oh my, it's over. Yeah. And not in a good way, like, thank God it's, thank God it's over. And I've built businesses across, I'd say, fairly big markets. In Africa, I've built a business in Asia and in Europe as well. My last business was a UK-based business.
And very different markets.
The challenges have been the same. Exactly the same. When you talk about access to capital, when you talk about access to resources, networks, women have the same challenges no matter where you are across the globe. It's just the gravity of the challenge that differs.
It was you who gave us those numbers. It was 2% were given to women, and I think it was 0.2% was it to women of color.
Having self-doubt is not necessarily a bad thing. Women need are investors who are willing to put in patient capital, because you might be a zebra now, but in the next 10 years, you might be a unicorn. And out of these 90% startups who don't go beyond the 3-year mark, over 60% of them are female founded.
Really?
Not because they're bad, but because they could not show that high growth, high energy that Silicon Valley has shoved down our throats, and we think that is the right model. That's not the right model.
Welcome back to The Mindset. I'm Dr. Veena, and today I'm joined by a very inspiring woman who's an award-winning serial entrepreneur. She's the founder of Athena FundX, and today she's sitting right across me where we can pick her brains on what makes her so amazing and inspiring. Angie Madara, welcome to The Mindset.
Thank you so much, Veena, for having me. And this is a lovely setup. I've never done podcasts, like recorded podcasts like this.
Yeah.
So it's quite cool.
Well, I'm really pleased to hear that. So thank you. And I'm surprised you're saying that, because I first saw you at a business conference at the London Business School, and hearing you speak, I'm surprised that you've never done this before, because you have so much wisdom and knowledge. Yeah, so
thank you.
I feel kind of excited that you're here for the first time. Thank you for making time.
Thank you. Hopefully this will be the first of many.
First of many. Amen to that. Yeah. How are you today?
I'm good. Rainy, a bit wet, but happy to be here.
Great. So for our listeners who may not necessarily know your background or what you do, what is Athena FundX?
Well, Athena FundX is a platform for female entrepreneurs who are just starting off, who are thinking about their ideas and don't know where to go with their ideas. You know, it's a very difficult step just to, tell yourself, I'm going to do this as a business. So we put up this platform for women to experiment freely, to be comfortable with failing. Nobody's going to judge you. Yeah. For you to ask questions and not be seen as being silly or, oh my God, you should have known this by now. Yeah. So this platform is all about helping women to be confident in the steps that they take to start their businesses. And we do this on WhatsApp.
Okay.
It can run on any platform really, but we picked WhatsApp because women have the biggest engagement in WhatsApp. Okay. So the platform, you can come anytime you want. You can learn whatever it is you want to learn at that particular moment. It's not like an accelerator where you have to sit through courses. You self-direct what you want to learn. You ask a question in any language. It can understand you and direct you accordingly. And now we're building a community to back up the women that come through our platform. So we're trying to build one-stop shop for female founders who are starting off their entrepreneurial journey. And once you're ready, we can plug you into whatever platforms that, you can, take your business to the next step.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Is it predominantly for people who are at the starting part of their process, or can it also be for founders who've run their business for a couple of years and then want some more support?
Right now, it's for women and youth founders who are starting off.
Okay.
But we are building more content to allow, businesses who are further along the line to get relevant content. We're all struggling, especially women, we're all struggling with fundraising and how to get the right capital partners to your table. So we are building that aspect out with a couple of partners. and it will be hopefully now take you a bit further down along the line.
Yeah. You know, because you mentioned that, why focus on women?
Good question. I wrote a piece back in 2022 when I exited my startup. So I've been a startup entrepreneur myself. I've done this 3 times before Athena FundX. And I've had successes, I've had failures as well. But through all that, and I've built businesses across, I'd say, fairly big markets. In Africa, I've built a business in Asia and in Europe as well. My last business was a UK-based business.
And very different markets.
Very different markets. And the challenges have been the same. Exactly the same.
Right.
When you talk about access to capital, when you talk about access to resources, networks, women have the same challenges, no matter where you are across the globe. It's just the gravity of the challenge that differs. In the UK market, capital is fairly accessible. Not the best, but fairly accessible than capital for women in Africa. But the challenge is the same. Getting 2% of capital allocated to women entrepreneurs is I don't even have the words to put to that.
There are no words.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think it was you who gave us those numbers. It was 2% were given to women. And I think it was 0.2%, was it to women of color, from what you said?
0.2% to women of color. So you can imagine my own struggle as a female entrepreneur trying to get funding. And, you know, there is, when I started fundraising, someone told me that I'll need to knock on 100 doors to get at least one person to give you 5 minutes of their time.
Right.
But being a woman of color, it goes up to maybe 300 people. So by the time you're building your pipeline of investors, angels, corporate partners, you need maybe that 500 names. It's really depressing, but now things are changing. It's good to have these kinds of conversations because it sparks that change. Yeah. Many things are changing, and I hope as we go, we won't even have this conversation. I hope when my kids are growing up, they'll see the world as a fair world where everything is equal for everybody. That's the kind of thing I want to do.
Yeah. You know, you told us you've done this 3 times over. So say you've done it twice successfully, and the third time, if you're going to now people to raise, were they still doubtful, or were the challenges still there, or did they get easier because you had all this credibility built up?
It gets easier as you get credibility built up. It gets easier the older you get.
Right.
It's kind of the opposite in employment. When you're looking for, when you're maybe trying to pivot and you're older, you don't really get that much hook.
Okay. Yeah.
Because people want young, vibrant, employees. But when you're building a business, the older you get, the more confident people are with trusting you with their money that they're investing in your business. And a track record really adds a lot of value in those negotiation tables. But when you're a first-time entrepreneur, you waste so much time. And I'm talking about waste. It's a word that I've used purposely because at that stage, you don't know where to go really. So you cold calls, cold emails, LinkedIn messages, anyone and everyone you come across. I'm fundraising.
Yeah.
And we tend to waste a lot of time. So one of the things that we're doing at Athena FundX is trying to do those matchmaking, at least for first-time entrepreneurs who we see value. And we have the name fund in it because we are building a fund. We've already started working. So we will put our money where our mouth is and invest in those creative businesses led by women, those innovative businesses that we see coming through our pipeline. And Athena FundX we started off with the fund first. And when I exited my business and I wrote on LinkedIn that I have exited, it was a pain.
Why?
Oh my gosh. Just getting to that point. I remember just bawling. I was just crying like, oh my, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh, and not in a good way. Like, thank God it's, thank God it's over. It was such a spirit draining process to get to that point. But when I wrote it, so I used LinkedIn as therapy.
I think a lot of people use LinkedIn as therapy.
Exited, and all of a sudden I started getting messages from other women entrepreneurs like, how did you do this? How did you do that? Can you connect me to this person who's in your circle? So I wrote even the investor who bought us out, who acquired the business. So can you connect me to this guy as well? And I was happy to make those connections. And then it started to grow legs. Right. And I thought, okay, being a techie that I am, let me put something together. Yeah. And it wasn't meant to be this big. It was just meant to be something I'm doing as a way of giving back to the community.
We're talking about it like it's nothing, but the fund is quite substantial. It's quite substantial. Yeah.
It's quite big. And now it's only been a year and a quarter down the line since we properly started it. And now we have nearly 40,000 women engaging in the platform.
All around the world?
From 25 countries right now. And then towards the end of last year, we said, why not just go for 1 million?
Why not?
Why not? And now we have this crazy target to get 1 million women and youth to engage with the platform, to try businesses, because, investing in women and youth is not just a good thing to do. It's not just like a charity box ticking thing. Oh, I've supported a woman today. No, women and youth create businesses that are fundamentally transforming the societies and communities that we live in. Women businesses, 98%. It's stats that's documented. 98% touch on an SDG. The youth are so involved about the environment that we live in. They want clean world. Most of the businesses that are clean tech, deep tech are coming from young people. So if we want to change the world, what are we doing? Still funding the
familiar faces and familiar voices. Yeah, it's time to invest in the new. I'm with you on that.
It's time.
You said you've gone across the world, different countries, different continents, but women have had the same problem, but with different magnitude. Tell us a bit more about that.
I will tell you I love talking about this. My biggest failure, the business that bombed.
Yeah.
So I was working at a consultancy firm, and I started in India. And I started. I wasn't happy with that consultancy. Right. It was a big humanitarian organization, and every other year, so every 2 years, they'll get us to do the same kind of work in the same market. And after, I think I did that for like 4 years, but every time the data that you're coming out is the same. Nothing is changing. So they're putting it, and they used to put in millions and millions to do these kinds of studies. So this development organization puts in millions, the study is done, nothing is done about the study. A year later, they call you in to do the same study. I was happy getting the paycheck, but it reached a point, I was like, what the heck am I doing? I'm wasting their time. I'm wasting the donors' money. You know, these development organizations some of them get taxpayer money from governments to fund them so that they do development work in emerging markets. So I'm wasting someone's tax money by doing this kind of exercise. And I gave a report, like I was leading that consultancy at that time, and I gave my report. I was like, so what's happening here? We're doing this work, nothing is happening. And I got frustrated, and I thought I need to find like a proper job.
Yeah.
And I was in India. I don't know anyone in India.
Well, now you do.
Now I do. My co-founder is Indian as well. And I thought, let me design something that will place me in a job somewhere. So I built a people tech company that places graduates to entry to mid-level jobs. And this was in India. I don't have any networks. I had a little bit of capital because I was paid really well for the consultancy. And now I started now building my networks in India. The people I was consulting with, the people I was doing the studies on. And, building your networks is hard. You have to get out, just going to a conference to meet people.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice your family life, get to this networking event. Some of them turn out to be really good and you meet people like Veena, and some of them just a waste of your time. And it takes time to build those networks. So that was challenge number one, starting off building my networks from scratch. Challenge number two is the classic mistake that we make as entrepreneurs who are bootstrapped. I'll just give away a little bit of my equity to get marketing person to come and do my marketing strategy and the execution of my strategy. And we keep on giving equity little by little. I didn't give out much, but I did give out equity, and a lot of equity at that point. And so when it came to investing, they would see that a lot of equity, the investors would see that a lot of equity has already been given out. That's a red flag.
Right.
And then now coming to the investor communities, investors who are investing in emerging markets are usually very, conservative.
Right.
And not very open to women entrepreneurs. That I've seen in Africa, that I've seen in Asia as well. Right. It's very much a boys' club. And breaking into those boys' club is a bit challenging. I'm not a drinker. I won't go to a bar to try and close my deal. I don't play golf to go to the golf clubs. So it's you just watch the party happening at the other side.
Yeah, you're like, how do you
get me in?
Yeah. And
so that was a bit of struggle for me. And the same thing, building my business in Africa wasn't so bad because it was backed by the university.
Right.
And they handled a lot of the investor relations, the marketing. So all we had to do was just the design and the development of the product itself. So that wasn't bad. But you could see the same thing happening.
Yeah.
There are not enough of workshops for women entrepreneurs. And if they happen in the evening. We are moms. Yeah. So I cannot afford to leave my kids.
Okay, she says this casually. If you guys can hear the hums and whispers of happiness in the background, that's because we have two gorgeous girls in studio with us today. And obviously, I wish I had the budget to have spare rooms and somewhere where they could relax and play. Sorry, girls. But they're literally sitting here with us, watching their mum do this interview. And that is just testament to what you're saying. That's the reality, right?
That's the reality. Yeah. That's the reality. We had our inaugural Female Founders Showcase at the end of March. And, the feedback that we got was we need to have like a soft play or daycare if we want more women coming to this.
Can you imagine how that would change the game for women? Because that burden is just taken off.
I know, right? It's like now we're in school half-term break. I have to schedule my life for these 2 weeks around my kids. Yeah. So if I get a chance to take them out, I will.
Today we're going to a podcast recording.
Today we're going to a pod, and they're like, yes. Last week was a workshop with Grameen Foundation. Like,
yes.
Today is a podcast.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of life. And I like people like Chekwana, who's from Ada Ventures, who's part of her investment into the women entrepreneurs that she invests in is childcare. So she's giving these women entrepreneurs a couple of hours of childcare, I think 30 to 60 hours, if I'm not wrong, of childcare, so that they can actually get their mind into building this business. Yeah. And that's the kind of thinking and the kind of even policies, if we want women to be more entrepreneurs and reinvigorating the startup scene within the UK market. That's what our policymakers need to look at. Very practical, pragmatic things that can help women build.
Day-to-day things, isn't it? Because I guess once you have a family, so much changes in terms of the role of a woman. And I think that's what a lot of people may not appreciate or understand, especially people who don't have children or families, and maybe men as well, because their life doesn't change much. Still continues the same way. So I think if the understanding came in, you're right, it could be a game changer.
It is. We're still the primary caregivers, no matter where what you're doing. You might be the CEO of a bank, but you are the primary caregiver of that home. So what structures are we putting in place to help these women support? And that's the kind of thing that we want to do also at Athena. What else can we do? Can we play a part in driving policies that make it possible for women entrepreneurs to innovate even more? Right. So we are working with Tower Hamlets, who are giving us space for women to innovate within Tower Hamlets. Okay. And we are calling these Athena hubs. And the hope is that in every borough, there'll be a space, maybe 2 or 3 desks, so that you don't have to do the commute all the way to central London for an office. Great. And then have to hurry back home for school pickup. Yeah. But can you work within where you are, innovate, spend more time, even hire more people within the community, energizing that borough. That's the kind of thinking that we want. And we want these hubs not just around the UK, but globally. So Tower Hamlets is giving us our first one. The government of Lagos is giving us our first one in Africa. And it's just the start.
Exciting.
It's just the start. Yeah.
So from what you've said, what I've gauged is the challenges that globally seem to be the same is the networks, the getting into the boys club, support for the family unit so they can balance. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but I also, from what I've observed, having friends, colleagues who've been in the industry doing all of this, is also sometimes a lack of confidence or a build of self-doubt, a lot more than I've seen in my male counterparts. Why do you think that is?
I think women, it's a good thing. I always say this, and you might contradict me if you want, but having self-doubt is not necessarily a bad thing. Even, we had a session with a coach, because we as founders, we are also coach. Yeah. And she's all about, self-confidence and, building your net worth. And, she says even her, she's a coach herself, but even her, she gets that. And I say it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can use it to your advantage. If you know, okay, I'm going into this room, the people are not like me, they don't look like me, they don't talk like me, I have a Kenyan accent. It drives you to prepare more. So what can I say that I won't sound silly or dumb? So you do a bit of digging. So it helps you even, be a step above the rest.
And not be as complacent, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. And, women are very pragmatic in the way we do things. We're very real. If an investor is telling you, I only invest in potential unicorns, and you look at your business and you look at your books and you're like, okay, I'm not a unicorn now. You won't go for that investor conversation because you're looking at your books and you're like, I'm a zebra. I'm comfortably a zebra. But a man will look at his books, no revenue, no traction. He'll be like, I'm the next unicorn in the next 3 years. And sadly, that's what investors want to see. Investors want to see the 10x. And if you don't show the 10x, then they're out. If you watch Shark Tank, it's all about, can you give me that 10x? People go there and see beautiful businesses, but because they're not at that stage, all investors are out. But what I think women need are investors who are willing to put in patient capital, because you might be a zebra now, but in the next 10 years, you might be a unicorn. And that gap is where we want to fill in as Athena, and hopefully get other investors to come in with us and help these women get to that level. Because lots of the businesses, you hear these stats, like 90% of startups don't go beyond like the 3-year mark. And out of these 90% startups who don't go beyond the 3-year mark, over 60% of them are female founded.
Really?
Not because they're bad, but because they could not show that high growth, high energy that Silicon Valley has shoved down our throats, and we think that is the right model. That's not the right model. Even to me, even pitching exercises are not the right way for you to get investment money. The investments that I have gotten, none of them have come through pitching.
Okay.
When you go for pitching, maybe you go for competitions and you get like a 10K, a 50K pitching competition that way. But pitching to get serious investment, for me, it hasn't worked like that. It's all about building that relationship. That's worked.
Because it is a long-term investment, isn't it? It's not one of those where I put the money in now and in a week you're going to see anything.
No. And even for an investor to commit, you need maybe like 9 months for those investment conversations, for you to get the actual check and money in the bank. And 9 months is even good for some women. I know some women who've been raising for like a year. So it's pitching doesn't work. 10x for women, not necessarily the right way, but we need to find these zebras that can be scaled to that 10x that we want. And for women, there are many. Women have solid businesses, solid books. They have big profit plus impact. That, like, it's ridiculous why more investment is not happening.
So if there are women listening to this today who have an idea, who have started something, but are lacking confidence in taking things forward, as someone who's done this, who's worked with women day in, day out, what would you say to them? What can they do day to day to build that confidence for themselves?
Be comfortable with failing. We try to avoid failure as much as possible. It's in our human nature. Nobody wants to fail. And at least now, back when I started my first business, I started my first business in university. When you fail, it's that tag that will be placed on you for the rest of your life.
Especially if you're led by academic achievements as your self-worth, yes.
But these days, you fail, you learn, you pivot, move. And what we're trying to do, and what I'd advise women, just try out Athena. You'll find the links after this. Try out Athena. It's a comfortable, safe place for you to experiment. It's hard saying I'm going to leave my full-time job to do
That safety, leaving that safety.
Yeah, getting that, every month you have your check coming in.
It's expensive. London is expensive, Angie. Yeah.
It is. And so getting that foot, just try, dip your toe in, experiment, see if it works, if it doesn't work, and talk to people. If your idea is good, you will get, some women. I talked to some women last week, and they university students, and they said that, like, what if someone steals my idea because I'm talking to them? If you are solid in the knowledge that you have, it will be so hard for anyone to steal your idea. They might mimic it, but they won't have the capacity to execute it as well as you would, because you know it. It's your baby.
But I know what they mean, though, because what if someone else had the funding or backup from, I don't know, family or friends with the money?
That's why I say just test. This guy might have funding and backup from money, from family, but he doesn't have, or she doesn't have that solid, the product side is not solid. So whatever they'll do, they won't get far.
Yeah. So don't let that phase stop you, is what you're saying.
Don't let that phase stop you. And test. Some women, very good ideas, but they want to start investing, to start fundraising immediately. It doesn't work like that. I don't know anyone who'll ever look at your business with just an idea these days, now that capital is so strapped.
Yeah.
But test something. You don't have to build the tech fully. Test something. Get your first 100 customers in.
Right.
Have work with your prototype. It doesn't have to be a fully functional thing.
Yeah, like a proof of concept, right?
Yes. Yeah. See if it's working or not. Yeah. And if it's not a tech business, you're setting up your your coffee shop.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a tech business. You're setting up a coffee shop. Do groundwork. Look at that place. Will it have footfall? What differentiator are you bringing to that market or where you're setting up your coffee shop? And if you want to set up a coffee shop, which needs a lot of capital outlay right from the start, what programs are there? The London programs are so many. You will get funding even from your borough to start off your business, especially if you're a woman and if you're a young person. You will get funding to start your business. Yeah. So just start.
Right. You said talk to people. Now I'm going to just dummy proof this. Talk to who? Talk to which people?
Talk to the universe. The one thing I was very shy about is asking for help.
Okay.
When I was starting off. And, you don't want to come off as a beggar.
Yeah.
But, Veena, let me tell you, being a founder, you're like practically begging 90% of your time. So you might as well just start begging now.
Get comfortable, yeah.
And put it on LinkedIn. Hey, guys, I'm looking for someone who can help me with the marketing plan.
As open as that, right? So start the conversation there. So people who might have similar interests or looking for something will come to you.
Will come to you.
Right.
You don't know what you don't have unless you try.
It's so true, because even on, there are so many negatives of social media, but there are so many positives as well, where the biggest support you sometimes get is not from your friends and family. It's from some random person in one part of the world who connects with what you're posting.
I'm telling you.
Or they want to learn about what, and they will comment, like, share, and you might then meet them one day and that feeling is there that you know each other, right? And you're just like, yeah.
There's this lady that I'm supporting, and she's very... She had me at hello. She wrote me a message on LinkedIn, and I try as much as possible. If I get messages from women, I will always respond. I will always respond. So I get this message from LinkedIn, like, hey, I'm struggling with my idea. She wants to build a Web3 game that connects, that gamifies the donation process. So it's not just I'm giving to Gift Aid or giving to Save the Children, but gamify it so that you feel good about the giving. And the people who are receiving receive money. So she's like, I'm building this thing, but it's still an idea stuck in my head. And can I get help? So I tell her, okay, first of all, try Athena. See how that takes you. And then she comes back a week later. I have tried Athena. I still feel like I need more help. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, let's do this. So I tell her, take this sentence, put it on your LinkedIn. She takes the sentence, puts it on her LinkedIn, just copy paste it on your LinkedIn. She got like 33 replies.
Really?
She was looking for someone to actually build this thing because she's not a techie. It's not a company that's set up, so she's looking for someone to work with her from ground up. She got like 33 replies. Now she's spoiled for choice. Just tell the universe what you need. Seriously. Your face group, your face groups. There are lots of groups for female entrepreneurs. Put it out there. Let's see what comes out.
Yeah. So maybe places where there are professionals with similar interests or others with knowledge that you may just not have. And if they don't, you're not forcing anyone, but if people want to connect and help, they would.
They would.
Okay, that's really useful.
They would. They'll connect with your mission. They'll connect to the impact that you want to create, and someone will step up.
Yeah. And I agree with that, because even when I was building this charity that's just a year old now, I had no idea. You know, I'm a doctor by background. I have no idea in the nonprofit charity zone. But just putting it out there that this is what I'm trying to build for this community, this is the target, and this is what I'm trying to do. People come forward. They really do. And I agree with what you're saying. They 100% do. And they'll be like, I'll support this. I'll make a flyer. I'll provide food. I can teach. I can do this. And that's how we're still running. And you're right. That's how it happens.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't get any feedback from it, if you don't get anyone stepping up, what have you lost?
Yeah, it's true.
Nothing.
It's true. Yeah. And being comfortable with that, right? That a bit of silence, a bit of rejection, a bit of failure, because I think society really amplifies and exemplifies success and money and,
I'm telling you,
proposals and marriage and children, a big house, all this, what they call success.
You look at your LinkedIn timeline and you get depressed, like, oh my gosh.
And I think you're right. Getting comfortable with the hiccups and the road bumps and all of that is also so important to then enjoy the bigger things when it happens, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
Talking back to, obviously you've told us what they can do to start off. When we think about support, tell us about your personal story. Were you supported from the beginning? Has that support changed?
It's, you know what? Let me talk about accelerators and incubators, because that's where majority of founders go to get support and build their own networks. I think they're great.
Okay.
I think they're great, but I don't think they are necessarily built around women and women's needs.
How so?
In fact, there's a study done by the World Economic Forum that states the gap between female and male entrepreneurs actually widens after going through accelerators and incubators, which is meant to be the opposite. It's meant to close that gap. But you see, it goes down to our availability to attend these sessions. We're juggling multiple responsibilities. We have this business, we have our family life, and you're expecting us to attend classes for like 6 months. Every week I'm in this class. At some point, something will have to give. So some women drop off, or the accelerators don't even get the 40% of attendees being female, because it's not designed around us. And then at the end of that journey, there is the connection to investors who are predominantly male, who will fund people who look like them, who talk like them, who went to Oxford like them.
I've heard this from every woman. Yeah, interesting.
So again, the people who can access this capital at the end of that accelerator or incubator journey are mostly men. So the gap, it's like we've just given our
made
male counterparts a leg up.
But what about your personal life, your family, your partner? Was the support there from those circles?
There is, let me tell you, support is, I come from a very traditional African family. And my mom, till today, she sends me job ads. Till today. No. Like 2 weeks back, she sent me an IFC job. Like, oh, you like working with women? There's this job from IFC. You'll be great at it. She's still, she doesn't understand the concept of I'm actually directing my own work and doing what I want to do, love, and I love doing, and it's making an actual difference. Maybe to her, I'm still playing around. Yeah, I'm wasting time until I come back and look for a job.
Yeah.
But she has been, in as much as she still sends me job ads, she has been very supportive when things get tough. And things get tough a lot. Okay. A lot. Entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. And, you know, in a day, you can have the highs and the lows and everything in between. And when it goes low, she's been there. My husband as well has been very supportive. He's not happy with me starting something new because I told him I'll rest after exiting and just be a mom and just enjoy.
Does he come from the same background professionally?
He does. He does. He's in finance. He's a banker. In fact, when I was telling him for Athena FundX, we are raising 25 million for the first fund. And he's like, oh, 25 million only. Like, he deals with billions. He does investments for sovereign investments, so countries. So he does billions, trillions. Doesn't understand why I cannot raise 25 million. I can't only. Yeah. Oh, for
cute.
Cute.
Yeah. No, that's interesting to know, because people listening in today, we can say all these generic things, but unless we tie it to what that's meant for us, I don't think people really understand. Because people may listen to me like, oh, it's easy for Angie to say this. She's done it before, right? No. But you even saying that to this day, mom sends you jobs. And she obviously means well, but she probably wants to see you in a traditional income stability setting. You seem pretty settled to me, but you know, yeah. And it comes from a place of love, right? Yeah. And it's understanding and navigating those generational differences and taking them on this journey with us, because things have changed. Yeah. It's really useful to know.
Things have changed. And you know, in as much as, so what I challenged at the last time she sent me the jobs was how the entrepreneurship mindset can be used in anything. So when I do decide to go back into full-time employment, I will have an entrepreneurial mindset, which will drive the business higher. Yay! So she's like, oh yeah, okay. Continue doing your thing. But she's supportive. When I need to go out and she's around, she takes care of the kids. Yeah. My husband does the same. If I need a couple of days, next week we'll be in Manchester for a couple of days, and he's like, okay, I got this. You do your thing. So it's good to have that support locally within the home, but I understand that some people don't.
They don't, yeah.
There are lots of single moms.
Yes.
So what do they do? And what support can we give them? And that's the kind of thing we want to help drive those policies to, you know, to support these female entrepreneurs to get to that next stage. It's not easy.
You're absolutely right, it isn't. But if someone has shown us it's doable time and time, it's yourself. You know, you have.
It's madness.
It is, but I'm intrigued to know, despite all these setbacks, you've gone for it time and time. What is your mindset on a day-to-day basis?
Well, my mindset are these girls who are whispering. And if I don't, so one of them wants to invent like flying boots. And I'm not going to tell her that flying boots are a bit way into the future. I'm not going to tell her that because who knows, she might as well invent those flying boots. And I want her to have that mentality when she's going out, because right now she has it like, oh, the world is fair and all of us are the same, equality. I don't want to burst her bubble. Yeah. And if I can do anything, something to make sure that her head remains the same, and as she grows, she knows that we're all equal. She hasn't seen anything that challenges that. That's the kind of world I want. I would like to build a world where that difference is not felt outright for them and their friends who are different to them. Even they, from the other side as well, they know that we are the same. We're going for the same opportunities. Nothing is changing for all of us. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. There are lots of other people who feel this way. It's just, we just need to come together and play our different roles to make sure that it stays the same for them as they grow.
Yeah.
That's what drives me. Athena was not meant to be a full-time gig, like I said, but since she wants to build flying boots.
I mean, you've got to raise and you've got to do it now.
Now I have to do it.
Yeah,
for
the
her
boots,
sake.
Absolutely. No, that's really insightful. And along your journey, who would you say has inspired you the most?
Oh, there's so many. There are so many women. Oh, I don't even know where to start. From Cynthia Davis, who's built a multi-million business, and she's all about creating an equal space for people to participate in. A phenomenal woman. To Rashida from AWS, who's in the corporate but advocating for equality and changes to get more representation within the tech industry. And also the men who've motivated me, who've supported me. I see people like Cecil from JP Morgan and Chase, who's putting together almost £1 billion fund to support different programs that promote equality within different kinds of spheres, entrepreneurship, the corporate as well, social enterprise. And support and motivation comes from different places. It's not just women, it's not just Black women. Also, men are doing fantastic work to open those doors and bring us into those conversations and doing the connections. The boys' club doesn't now look so far away. I'm not peering through the windows. Someone has held the door open for me, and I've peeped in now because of men who are bringing us into these conversations. So, and someone said something interesting to me a couple of weeks back, and she said, we were talking about sponsorships, because I always say I am not the best mentor because I don't have time. I'm doing so many things. I have a charity as well besides Athena Fund. I'm not the best mentor, but I can be a good sponsor. I can help connect you to people that I know within my networks who help you.
Yeah.
And this lady said to me that when it comes to sponsorship, she always looks for men. She doesn't look for women. And if she does find a woman, it has to be someone who's very senior. But you see, not all of us are very senior. So she looks for men. And I was like, I challenged her, like, why are you looking for men? Like, there's so many women who are doing fantastic things. And she's like, but these women are not in those boys' club. And those boys' clubs are the capital holders. I'm fundraising. I'm looking for money. So I'll follow where the money is. Well, that is something I'm still marinating on.
Yeah.
Is it the right way to go? But yeah, women are doing a lot right now to support other women into entrepreneurship. Women are doing a lot to support other women into VC. And those communities are starting. They're still nascent, but they're starting and they're growing. So I don't think we should be discounted.
No, absolutely.
just yet.
And even while you were talking, I can think of some men who really inspired me every time I had self-doubt or thought, oh, but I'm only this, can I do that? It's them who've said, actually, let me connect you to someone. Let me, look at what you've written. Let me proofread that. And that's given me the little push that I needed. So you're right. It's not just the women you have conversations with. So it's also the men who open the doors and push you a little bit more. Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been so insightful. I think we're going to do a little fun bit now. Okay.
Yay.
Quick questions, quick answers, whatever comes to mind. Okay. So our audience can get to know Angie a little bit more. The best piece of advice you were ever given?
Don't be afraid to ask.
Okay.
Just ask. Go for it.
Just ask. A secret skill you have that no one knows about?
Ooh, playing saxophone.
Really? Well, playing it well?
No.
Okay.
But I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Your favorite city to visit?
Ooh, Mombasa, Kenya.
Never been at. It's on my list. Favorite city to work in?
London has been so good to me.
Favorite way to relax?
Well, watching. What do I like watching, girls? Korean
soap. We just had to whisper Korean soaps. Okay. We've had someone concur that's true. Okay, yeah. Your go-to person, if you could pick one professionally?
My husband.
Love that. And advice to women looking to begin their investing journey?
It's all about proof of concept. Even when you're starting your first fund, your LPs will want to know, what have you done before? So just make that first 5K, 10K, and then talk about it.
Love it. One thing, I know there's plenty, but one thing being a mum has taught you?
Patience.
She says it in one breath. Yes, absolutely.
Patience of a saint. I don't know how teachers do it.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for teachers. I really do. Amazing. And towards the end, as we close, I always ask my guests if there's one little thing they want to ask me, any question. You don't have to, but if something comes to mind. So when is this show going to be on BBC? Oh, I love this. Well, you'll be the first person to know whenever we get Jason, you listening? I already have my DOP ready. Good. That's what I love to hear. No, Angie, thank you. Thank you for sharing this dialogue about your experience, about building Athena Fund. Sorry, I think I said Athena at the intro. Athena FundX, what it's been like working around countries, the challenges, the pros, the cons. I think it's definitely given us enough to firstly think about what you're trying to do, push yourself to do more and enter conversations where you may not have thought about, and really be okay with balancing that personal and professional life that we said. And I think I asked you this when you walked in. Can women have it all? That's a very good question. I think it's we will never have balance. Forget about balance. And anyone who tells you, oh, I'm managing, no. It's all about knowing when to give and knowing when to delegate. Yeah. So when like now, holiday season, when the kids are on holiday, I am a mom. Business will come second. So during this season, delegate. When it is time for business, it's time for business. I'll ask my husband to step in because I need to be in Manchester next week. It's time for business. Just knowing it won't be like smooth sailing, and they will understand because they know what you're trying to build. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's all about, okay, today for the next month, like August, I am out. I can't do anything. Even if I want to work, I cannot. I cannot. My kid, when I'm doing video conferences, they come here and here. I cannot work. So just knowing the times when you're fully on or off. I love that. Yeah. I think a lot of women have said that to me. They've said, you can have it all, but not at the same time. You can have,
that's it.
It's all there, but not at the same time. Exactly what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah. It's like different seasons and knowing what to prioritize in what season.
Exactly.
And even with asking for help, even when I was growing up, my mum worked a lot. She was very kind of like a serial entrepreneur, actually. And we had help at home to raise us, like nannies and things. And even though mum wasn't there a lot with the day-to-day, I never woke up thinking, I want to see my nanny. I would still wake up wanting mum. So I think women who think, oh, we're going to lose that connection, or if you get help. No, children still want their parent. I don't think that goes away.
Yeah. And they'll be so proud of you when you make it. They'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you so much.
Thank you, Veena, for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah. Please tell our audience where they can find Athena FundX and where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, Angie Madara with a muscle, that's me. You can find Athena FundX on www.athenafundx.com. There is a tab where you can learn, ask questions. Soon we're having more content, investment readiness programs for female entrepreneurs, and lots more.
Oh, thank you so much. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We're going to leave links down below of how you can reach each of us. And if you have something that you want to ask or even just start a dialogue about, please write in. See you in the next episode.